Morning, beautiful. Yeah, there's a truck up behind reversing, and you know what that means? It means that recycling has started again in Wellington, which is a wonderful thing. So the truck's full, so it's gone to the top of the road to turn around and go back to the depot to empty. So we won't be surrounded by crashing glass while we're talking, which I think is just kind of beautiful. Let me show you the day, because it's, well, like this. There is nothing missing on this beautiful still morning. Good morning, Linda. There is not a cloud in the sky. There's a little bit of mist over Wellington, but really it's just still morning. And can you see the very last little bit of the moon up there? I can barely see it on the screen, but I know it has to be there. And here we are. Morning, Nora. Morning, Holly. Good morning, Sang Marie. Good morning, Carmelina. It's beautiful to see you. It's a still cool. There's our bump. You can see everything is covered in dew. And the grass is long because my husband injured his foot and he's in recovery and he's doing fine. Before anybody says, oh, how awful. No, oh, how awfuls, please. Just, yay, he's recovering faster than I've ever seen him recover from anything ever before. Because when you put coherence around a healing process, it goes faster. Look at this. Can you see the dew? I'm not sure if we got the... There we go, now you can see. See the dew on the flower? It's just beautiful. It's a daisy. Fancy name is Euryops. I looked it up. Somebody asked me and I wondered. And look at this. Look at what it looks like when the bud's just opening. Come on, give me some sharpness here. No control of the camera. Okay, there you go. At least you can see. So it's beautiful. And everything's quite still and covered in dew. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Oh, you've got to see this. Look at the purpleness on these leaves. I don't think we've got focus. I just love that. So this is this morning. And the faithful campanula that always flowers is there in the background, and the kowhai. Morning, Julian. It's beautiful to see you. And this is today. So, let me get on to the subject. Today, it's just always so funny, although I think I had an inkling about the sort of weekend I might have. But today we're talking about, well, the original seed for this post, for this conversation was courage, right? And I can't even remember how it was that I got to that idea. Morning, Nesreen, on Friday. But I did, because we're always talking about overcoming ourselves, and I know we were talking about struggle and things that just seem to go on forever, and you know, that was 3 lifetimes ago, was last Friday. And so on Friday evening, quite late, I put this thing together. Good morning, John, about courage and about believing in yourself. And then I spent the whole weekend doing that. And it wasn't fun. And that's the whole point about courage and about overcoming yourself and about believing in yourself when everything around you or within you is saying, this isn't happening and you can't do it. You don't get to have courage when you feel courageous, if that makes sense. You don't get to have courage when there isn't something scary to overcome. You get to have courage in the face of fear. And you get to believe in yourself when there are things around you that are saying, forget it. And, you know, this is a sort of a really basic thing that I think gets overlooked. That what you desire, whatever it is on the other side of your fear. I was so wrong. about the truck going away. What you desire is on the other side of your fear. It's on the other side of your pain. It's on the other side of all of the chatter in your head that says you can't do what you want to do. That says, oh, it's too big. Don't be stupid. Morning, Wendy. Lovely to see you. And you know, look at how nothing's changed yet, or it's changed a little bit, but you just need so much more for it to be anything meaningful or useful. You know, we have this stuff that's there, and it gets really loud. And that's when courage and believing in yourself is hardest, and when it most applies. Great. How do you do that, Maddie? Well, you know, I say a lot about choosing and choosing and choosing, and believe me, I was choosing a lot. Now, to give you a short story so I don't wonder what the hell entirely that I'm talking about, a week ago, like 2 Saturdays ago, I made a very significant change in myself, and it involved releasing quite a lot of pain, and which involved quite a lot of tears, and some of you noticed the shift in me, and it was pretty dramatic. And straight after that, like, I came out of that meditation process, it took me an hour and a half to finally get through my pain to where I wanted to be, and I immediately noticed that my heart was blipping, right? They're called ectopic heartbeats. They're quite harmless, but there seemed to be a lot of them, and I was like, oh, this is unusual, because my heart hadn't blipped like that for years. I thought, well, this is interesting. You know, supposed to get better after this, what the hell? But I just, you know, chill. It was 2 Saturdays ago, and I just kept sort of acknowledging it and doing what I knew to do, which was not give it attention as much as possible. I eventually became really aware of just how much attention I was giving to the thing I didn't want to be giving attention to. And it sort of intensified during the week. Yeah, sometimes courage is knowing when to quit. It really is. Take guts to quit. Believe me, I did that at the end of 2016. Like, no! I had to give some money away. I had to pay some assholes some money so I could get out of something. That took guts for me at the time. So, anyway, so what I hadn't realised, to cut a long story short, and the penny dropped last night, and I did something about it, and I had a decent night's sleep. The night before that, I spent half the night, about 4 hours, if not more, managing the fact that my guts were in turmoil, my heart was blipping all over the place, and my body was basically trying to do anxiety attacks all the time. And I thought, well, I'm not actually afraid of anything. I mean, this is really unpleasant. My body is doing fear. My body is running the program of fear, and I'm not going to give into it. And I kept on self-regulating and doing stuff that I've learned in my meditations and opening my focus and all the things that I knew how to do. And after 4 or 5 hours, something came to me and I thought, oh, that's what's going on. And the whole thing turned off, and then I could go to sleep. But then, you know, it was all back the next day, and I started thinking, what's going on here? And I finally realised last night that all of that kind of gut-wrenching sobbing had actually tightened up the muscles in my diaphragm, which has happened before, which is how I knew what was going on in the end. And that was disrupting the function of my vagus nerves. One or the other or both, I don't know. And when your vagus nerve is disrupted, shit happens. Because it regulates your whole autonomic nervous system, really. The vagus nerve is amazing. I think it sort of switched it off, and that's why I was constantly in fight or flight and thinking, what the hell? You know, my body is just wanting to run. You know, it's just running on stress hormones all day, even though I was doing everything I knew how to do not to have that experience. And it was working, but it wouldn't stay there. So I loosened off the muscles, and voila, thank heavens, I now feel like myself again. But the point being that until that realisation hit me at about, I don't know, 4 or 5 or whenever it was o'clock on Sunday morning, and the realisation was, this is kind of polarity and separation, and it's kind of universal, and I'm just dealing with it at my level. And as soon as I understood that, you know, it all turned off. And then, you know, a little bit later in that day, I realised what I need to physically do to release it. But I had spent the week facing this unknown fear, I don't get why my body's doing this. And overcoming. And, 4 or 5 hours spent lying in bed thinking my body does not want to go to sleep. I can't go to sleep. My heart rate's too fast. Oh, now it's trying to do an anxiety attack again, calming it down, turning it off. That took courage, because when you're lying there and you're thinking, oh, my left arm is tightening up, and I could poke at my left pectoral and know that was the problem. It was putting pressure on the brachial plexus. And by the way, symptoms of a female heart attack are not the same as for a male anyway. They're not like that. And I kept running it through my head saying, no, Maddie, you're not having a cardiac event. But my brain was just running around in tight circles trying to convince me that I needed to be afraid. And it was a very deep decision over and over again to not do that. And those kinds of times, it really helped that I've actually had this experience before, different, but enough things in common that my rational mind could look at it and say, this is bullshit. You're really trying, body, to run this program of fear and have me buy into it, and I'm not doing it. And to me, the miracle is that I broke through it. Like on Sunday morning, I spent about 2 hours meditating, and I really only connected sort of close to the end because there was so much chaos in my body, and it didn't last. The chaos came back because the muscles were tight. But the miracle was that I realised what the thing was, and I undid it. Yeah. You got to remain in the present moment, Linda. And that was what I realised in the middle of one of those meditations was, look, this beat of my heart is coherent. It's not blipping right now. I'm going to be grateful for that. And there's one thing that if you understand this process, that courage, that believing in yourself will do, and it is to force you, yank you, demand you to be in the present moment. Amy, good morning, sweetie. There's nothing else you can do, because if you go back into, my heart blipped before and it was going to do it again, and then you spiral into the fear of what you think is going to come. It's not here yet. You don't know. It's an unknown. And we like to be able to predict our lives. That's the thing. I like it when I can predict that my heart is not going to blip all the time. And it's steady as a rock now. It is. It was purely a physical disruption. Tight muscles, pulled on the nerves, stopped it from acting like the brake. It's the brake on the car, the brake and the clutch. The sympathetic nervous system is the gas. The parasympathetic nervous system gets operated by the vagus nerve, and if it's not working, then your sympathetics just fire up and don't turn off. I understand all this, but it took me a while to realise what the thing was that was driving that. And until I could get to the place where that information could make it to me, I had to manage myself. Chief in my tools of self-management is this whole thing that I've learned from Joe Dispenza. Oh my God, I'm so grateful for that work. I'm always grateful for that work. Just in another way, I'm grateful. Chief in my tools for managing fear of any sort is to open my focus. And what I mean by that is when you're scared, there's something you're scared of, right? So you look at it and you worry about it and you focus on it, you put all your attention on it, and we all know that when you do that with something you're scared about, it gets bigger. It just grows. Your awareness of the problem grows. And I was so aware, and I could sort of feel this thought and this feeling in myself. I have to pay attention to this to make sure that it's not going to get worse, or to make sure that it's not going to turn into anything bigger. I have to pay attention to that, because if I don't, I might die. Those were the literal thoughts. Those were the literal feelings. And I had to go against that survival impulse and open my focus. And that means sensing, really, the space around me. It means taking my attention off the thing that I'm afraid of. Where your focus goes, your energy flows, totally. Where you put your attention is where your energy is. And one of the things that landed in me yesterday when I was sitting there struggling with the fact that my body wanted to be in, let's run from a predator mode, and I did not because I was meditating, was how much my attention was constantly being pulled to the pit of my gut, because that's the third energy centre, the solar plexus. That was where the disruption was, and I could feel it, and my attention kept going there. So what was I doing? I was feeding it and making it bigger. So, heck, I've got all these other things to pay attention to in the quantum field, in the unified field, in my awareness, and my attention keeps going back to this very thing that I want to turn off. Wow! But that's what fear does, is it drags us into this very narrow focus on the thing. So, for you, Linda, you're going through your day and you're waiting for that beep, or that, for the phone to light up, whatever it is. Morning, Heather, lovely to see you. And it's like a part of your brain, unless you're being aware about it, and I'm sure you are, part of your brain is always going, where is it? What's happening? And how am I going to respond? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? And you're constantly focusing on that thing instead of thinking something else. I'm not going to pretend to be you. I've got to show you something. See, we've got a little... see if I can get close without scaring it off. Yeah, we've got a tui feeding in the kōwhai there. Showing off for us now. Thank you, our little feathered friend. So attractive. It's very nice to see them hopping around, being a tui. All right, it's done its little show off spot now. So, in times like that, it takes tremendous determination to determinedly take your attention off the thing that's saying, you need to look at me. You need to look at me all day to make sure that I'm not going to kill you. That's really what's going on. And that's courage when you say, well, no. No. And I had to say it a lot. And believing in myself, I know that this came after I did that meditation work, and I know this is a healing for me. I don't understand it yet. I haven't worked it out. I know I can resolve this myself. I don't need to rush off and get advice or support from anybody else, which is another huge conversation that goes on and on and on in my head, because I programmed myself into so much fear about needing other people to tell me what to do. Hi, Claire! So please don't take that as any kind of instruction to be the same. This is me realizing that I have a tremendous program about I need other people to tell me how to stay well and give me results and everything else. And at the moment, I just got to break out of that. So, I had to believe in myself. Yeah, wonderful, exactly. You're waiting for it, but there's no point trying to anticipate it, and you're staying present and doing right now. Yeah, you're staying out of stress mode. Exactly, Linda. I knew you'd be doing something constructive and great with it, because you know about this now. So, to believe in yourself. I feel like I've talked about me a lot, but hopefully it makes sense. To believe in yourself when, your body is still in chaos, but you're creating healing. To believe in yourself when your bank account is still, not sufficient, and you need food or resources or something repaired or whatever. To believe that there is possibility and there is support and there is love and resource and whatever you need available to you, but it's in the unknown and it's not going to come from anywhere that you can see or predict. You gotta believe in I gotta believe in myself, even though there's so much inside my head or even outside of me that says, are you joking? And it takes courage to do that. But the thing is that when you keep doing that, when you practice it, when you get better at it, because it is a skill like everything, there comes a point where it gets a little bit easier. I can't really say anything else. It does get easier, because to believe in yourself when everything is screaming at you feels very unfamiliar and you're not used to doing it. So the first however many times you do it, it's like, oh no, because all the chatter in your head is really loud. And remember, you've never fired and wired that particular set of neurological circuits before. So you've got to grab some neurological growth factor and make those connections. And in your brain, the growth factor is currently tied up in other connections, and you have to fire the thought strong enough to grab some growth factor, some connections, some special glue from some other synaptic connections that you're saying, no, I don't want those, I want these ones instead. That's why it's so hard to start with to think a new thought, to say, no, I'm not going to give in to this fear. No, I'm not going to give in to this fear. No, I'm not going to give in to this fear. No, I'm not going to give in to this fear. You get the idea. It takes so much determination to say there is something on the other side of my fear and I can't see it, I can't smell it, I can't taste it, I can't touch it, I can't anything it, but I'm determined that it's there and I believe that it's there. Because there are limitless possibilities in the unified field, and if I can just take my attention off the one that is saying, you need to look at me, or because if you don't you're going to die. And if I open my focus and put it in the space around me, and I remember that there is limitless information and frequency and possibilities there, not in matter, but in possibility. If I start to put my attention there, if I rest my attention there, first of all, I'm going to get a little bit less stress. And if I keep resting my attention in the space, in the, and really it's like painting in a massive sphere around me. How far out to the side can I go? How far above me can I go? How far below me can I go? How far, in each diagonal? And just take my attention off the self-worth, the laziness, the programs, the fears, the chattering voices. And neurologically, when you open your focus and you determine to put your attention away from everything that's saying, you're going to pay attention to me, that is a skill, and when you do that, you will eventually, with practice, come out of survival mode, your brain will calm down, and then you can start to access different states of being, more possibilities, and then the things that you desire can find you. And they just won't come in the way you expect. And if I think about it, I've got time to tell you, barely. The answer was, I have a mortar and pestle here, which I used to grind up magnesium. And I never used to need to grind up magnesium salts because the last lot I got was small enough to dissolve on their own, but these are bigger crystals. And I haven't had the mortar and pestle out for like decades. But it sits on the bench. And I realised yesterday, that's the perfect tool to get into my body in those places and release those tight muscles. Hi, Maria! Because before that, my fingers never do the job and they get tired, and this is just a beautiful thing. And I was just sitting in front of our television, well, not the television, sitting in front of a DVD with my husband rubbing my feet because we do that, and I rub his another day, and just rubbing those muscles and thinking, oh my God, I feel human again. But that was the answer, and it never came to me until I could kind of calm down and let it in. So that's what I wanted to say. What you desire is on the other side of whatever you are feeling, which feels impossible and impenetrable and can't change, and, get your attention off it, open your focus. And if you're thinking, I don't know what you're talking about, but I want to know, drop me a message or something and I'll point you to some resources that'll hopefully help you figure it out. All right. Much love. Thank you for sharing my Monday, your Sunday or Monday. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.